I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drums beat. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the light. I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits
Hello, hello, hello. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. So, we start the week doing what we love the most, which is flying. Hope you enjoyed the intro music. Decided to add something to go along while you guys wait. It's a bit cheesy, but lyrics are mine. Song is, well, let's just say I'm not good with playing the instruments, but someone was, and there it is. So this is something that I think a lot of aviation enthusiasts, at least in my country, would love to see. An Air Portugal A350. Now, long story short, once upon a time, TAP Portugal really wanted to buy the A350, and they did want to buy the 900 series. It would be like a very early version, so slightly different from this one, but an A350 900 nevertheless. Now, after some time, TAP Portugal realized that perhaps the A330, a variant of the A330, would be a better plane, more fit for the long-range flights and short mid-range flights that the current A330 performs. so they decided to abandon the A350, and they were one of the delivery. Actually, TAP Portugal was the delivery airline for the A330neo. So the first ever A330neo was a TAP Portugal jet. It's a shame they abandoned the A350, although never say never. There could be a time where Air Portugal just decides, well, we need a 50, and they go get it. But until that day, this is purely fictional, purely an illusion, if you want, that some of us still feed in our minds. What if, right? What's not an illusion, it's today's flight. So we will be flying from Lisbon, from Ponta Delgada in Azores to Lisbon. So just going to show you where we are. This is the Azores island. This is Ponta Delgada, one of the largest islands from the Azores islands, and this is the flight we're going to make direct to Lisbon. It's a bit longer than Madeira, but we'll engage hyperspeed halfway so that you guys don't have to wait that long. So let's prep the flight. First of all, the plane is on the APU, so it's actually on a GPU, so actually running on an external auxiliary power unit, so called the ground power unit. And we'll start prepping the plane. This says the philosophy is pretty much the same as the previous flights when I flew the Airbus A320 and A380. Pretty much the same philosophy. The things are a little different, and this is a more advanced aircraft in terms of technology, but same laws, same philosophies, same engagement. So let's prep the plane. So first of all, we turn on our little pumps, although we don't need them right away, but this is the standard procedure. Turn on the ADIRs, so those are the alignments, the inertial alignments. So let's import our Simbrief flight. So Ponta Delgada to Lisbon. This is TAP Air Portugal 22 Sierra. We will be, aircraft registration is wrong. Let's change that. So this is the This is the Charlie Sierra Tango X-ray. Now it's correct. So like I was saying, this is this flight will be more or less the same flight that's performed by the A330-200. I do not know if the Neos perform this flight, but we are going to fly a shorter flight than what this airplane is designed. Now this is an aircraft that can stay airborne for a long time. This is a long-range flyer. There's an even longer version, which is the 1000 version. This is a 900, so less seats, but same performance more or less, given that the plane also has bigger fuel tanks, the 1000 I mean. It has a longer range. Since the 900 is lighter, slightly lighter, it can also have better performance. So we'll see that performance today, although we can't really compare to. I was asked by someone if I could ever make an A330 Neo flight. Unfortunately, there's only one A330. And let me tell you, I don't like that plane. It's freeware, but it's not the fact that it's freeware that we don't get to enjoy. It's the fact that it's really rough on the edges. I don't know any plane that's not rough on the edges, but I'd rather fly with something complete like this plane right here. And I'm talking about the headwind A330. Again, a freeware plane. It is all the merit for those making those freeware aircraft, but it takes a long time to get it right, I suppose. So right now we're still lining our IRS, but let's just prep all this. None of this is actually required. We'll keep constraints here. We'll start prepping. Oh, I forgot to turn on our ATC. It's turned on. There it is. A little low, but I'll get it up in volume if need be. So currently we just loaded a flight plan. We are now going to listen for, let's put it right here. We're going to listen to the ATIS. So this is the automated terminal information service. This is a recorded message. 2,300 ceiling, 3,500 ceiling broken, 24, 1024. Oh, 12, so we're going to have to backtrack today. Always fun. So let's put this to 10,000 for now. John Paulo II, nice. The airport is called John Paul II, not John Paulo II. It's just the AI that can't read the second. Alright, let's turn in the tower for now to have him shut up. There's no traffic, no significant traffic today. We do have a couple of planes next to us. There they are. So we got a TAP Portugal. Hopefully they don't leave before us, otherwise we might have a wing clip. Looks like it. Yeah, it's gonna clip our wing, isn't it? Just barely. Probably not. Anyway, first things we need to do is, of course, we would have to perform the go-around, but since this plane was parked, it still has the engine covers and the pitot covers. So we're going to remove those. We do that in cockpit. Although I just noticed that on the MFS 220, Inibuilds did not add the pitot covers, just the engine covers. Oh well. It's just cosmetic. Don't want to turn on the engines with that thing on, though. So let's just remove those. And we'll get on with the rest of the ground operations, but not just yet. We need to well, I can request boarding.
Boarding requested.
It's gonna take a while. It's gonna refuel, and then it's gonna do all the catering. So it will take a moment. So before that, we'll start listening. We'll ask for IFR clearance right here to Lisbon.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, ready to pick up IF or clearance to Lisbon.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, Ponta Delgada Tower, expect runway 12, Beacon 5 Yankee departure. Squawk 3604.
I can't do that from here.
Beacon 5 Yankee departure. Squawk
So
3604.
Beacon 5 Yankee. Okay.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, read back correct. Call me back when
Beacon
ready for push
5 Yankee. This one's right here. Okay.
Loco, Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Alright, let's clear this. Yep, okay, looks good. We don't have the INS aligned yet, but we can definitely take a look here. So this is going to be our flight plan in yellow. So we're going to follow this path. We're going to compare with the chart, the departure chart, but it seems okay for now. No major issues. Now let's go to the flight plan. Let's go to the routing, and let's select Lays 2 Alpha, and where are the passengers? Those aren't my passengers. Oh, there they are. They're coming from that gate over there. Let move this. They're coming from that gate. It's gonna look cool because I added the waypoints, although the tug is in the wrong place. I placed this tug on the right side, but for some reason it ended up here anyway. So they're gonna make a weird porting through the tug there, but they are coming from the gate, which is pretty cool, as you can see. It's a walk-in apron, just like in Madeira. You can see them walking. That tug, we can get it out of the way. We can just ask GSX to attach the pushback. Come on. Attach the pushback. Well, you know, GSX sometimes just seems that it doesn't want to attach, so oh well. It's one thing that GSX with this plane does wrong is that after the passengers are loaded, for some reason they call the catering. It should be the other way around. Plus, the refueling is performed halfway too. So I would say refueling should be performed before passengers, way before passenger boarding. But you know. There it goes. So we need to ask by hand or whatever. It still works. So let's go continue our preparation. So we already have nav data accurate from INS alignments, which is always pleasant. Let's run the cockpit preparation checklist. So gears and pins and covers have been removed. Fuel quantity is 12,000 kilograms and it should be 19,000. So we're going to wait for that one. Seat belts, let's put them on for these passengers that are just coming in. And barrel reference, we got 1024, so we cannot set this one as complete because we're still waiting for the fuel. Let's carry on with initializing the rest of the performance. So we're expecting 172.4. So let's go to sorry, not initialize, fuel and load. We're expecting 172.4. That's 172 tons, correct. And we're expecting block fuel of 19. Hold on a second. Why does the fuel just jump? Or was I misreading? Yeah, probably was misreading. This is the fuel quantity. This is the expected fuel. Oh, too hot. Too loud. This is the stewardess addressing the passengers coming in. So, like I was saying, fuel should be 19.3, so we're still waiting for the refueling. We're going to confirm, we're going to confirm that after the fueling is performed. And we got passengers, should be, how many passengers are we getting today? So there's an easy way to see this on the ground. We just load the menu, so it should be 312 passengers. So 312 and enter. Alright, as for our squawk, they did tell us a squawk a moment ago, I just didn't write it down. So squawk 3604. So let's go to the ATC comm, go back to flight plan surveillance, and sorry about that, my mouse acts up sometimes. So this should be 3604. Done. Alright, just need to remember to turn on the transponder before departing the gate. Should be alright. As you can see, there's a discrepancy here. When we are loading via GSX, all the passengers have seated, but it's still indicating that only 21 passengers boarded. This is a desync. I'm not entirely sure. As you can see, there's already 276 passengers on board via the aircraft itself, but for GSX only 21 were loaded. Honestly, don't know why this happens. You can see the plane is loaded, 290 passengers, but we will take a look after this is all complete. But it's looking good. Everybody's been seated. This is the first class. This is economy or business. This is the economy plus and economy regular. We're not going to have a full flight, but it's coming close. Minus 10 passengers today. Cargo has also been low. Let's take a look at the cargo. It's also cool to see. So you see the little guys loading the cargo. Although I picked ground force, for some reason it always picks Ryanair for this gate. Not sure. I have to take a look at the configuration for this airport. It's possible to edit everything, including the parking positions, and that tug was not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be on the right side, but you know, GSX never works as we plan. At least the passengers were dropping out of the gate as they should. I added these passengers moving around just for, you know, a little ambience. When you're in the cockpit and you're sitting down, you can see people walking around. It's pretty cool. But I may remove it because they're a bit too much. Alright, still waiting for the loading to be concluded. We got 307 passengers out of 324. This is a big plane, takes some time to sit everyone. Unless it's done. Could be. Could be done. We can check the messages to see if the load sheet is complete or not. Yep, 312, so GSX just messed up again, which is absolutely typical. 312 confirmed. We got our CG here or what? So boarding complete, thank you. 0 fuel weight, where's our CG? 30.
Refueling truck is on its way.
30 spot on, alright. I'm still gonna wait for the refueling to end to confirm this, because there could be some more or less fuel than the one planned. We need to be careful with that. So we got 312 souls on board plus the crew. We're gonna have to count the crew, probably 4 pilots and about 8 crew members, not sure. We're gonna have to take a look at that. We got takeoff weight of 191 tons, way below the maximum.
Fuel truck is in position.
So the plane's now refueling, which again should have been done. Yeah, see, GSX, let's refresh. GSX says 194.
Are on their way.
And now complete. It just went away. So let's hope it doesn't bork on our destination. So the forward and aft cargo doors have been shut. We're now waiting for the refuel to be concluded. I don't see any refueling truck. Oh, there it comes. And now comes the catering as well. This is a huge mess. The refueling truck is going away. Do we have the fuel already? So it should be 9,000 pounds per week. Yeah, we got the fuel. Let's just confirm that. Yep, it's done. So thanks. So 0 fuel weight CG is in fact 330.0, 19,000.3. So 19.3. Let's just go back to the fuel and payload. Oh, we were already. So 19.3, zero fuel rates 172.4, all fine and dandy. Now for some reason the catering is coming in. I think this is not the right order of things. Should be catering first, probably more or less at the same time as refueling. But you know, always thinking about our passengers, right? So we want them to have these very warm, readily done meals. I've done a couple of hamburgers gourmet myself for these passengers. We got some fresh sushi as well. All the best, only the best for our passengers here. So while they're serving that, we're going to start our APU. Flap moving. Flap open. So let's start our APU here. It's going to make a walk around to see if we're missing something. So the procedure is we start our APU in order to power up the plane so we're on its own so that we can disconnect the ground power unit. So let's sync our data, compute, and these are V speeds. So V1, VR, and V2. Flaps 1, Fox, so 1 flap. And let's transport that to the FMS. And if we go to the performance, there's our data. So flaps 1, this is our trim, 30.3 THS. And now our V speeds 133, 138, and 146, 133, 138, and 136 confirmed. We're going to have a flex of 42 degrees, and our packs will be on. Alrighty, so the sound you're hearing is a bit unrealistic. We're hearing the APU. The doors are open, so we could be hearing something. I think it's just too loud. So let's prep our HUDs now. We're not going to use them for the entirety of the flight, but let's just prep them. So the HUD's brightness is okay. Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna mess with that during the flight. So our APU is available. Let's power up the plane. Doors are closing as we can hear them in the background. We're gonna monitor that from here. So the right doors have been closed. We already have our APUs, so let's turn off the GPU. GPU went away. These are auto switches, so these external ones, these are auto switches, so they are intelligent enough to know that once we got our APU, these can be, the ground power units can be turned off on their side. A lot of people, some people, not a lot of people, ask me why don't I do the fire tests and all that. Well, it's part of the memory items, and unfortunately I don't really have those memory items. So fuel quantity is set, so checklist complete. Let's continue on with the before start checklist. Like I said, I don't really know the memory items for the A350. This plane is very recent for me, so I don't usually perform those memory items. I'm not a real pilot, so I take it easy on myself, but yeah, I admit I should be doing those. So let's see, do we have everything ready for departure? We only have the stairs in, but that's easily fixed. We can turn on the beacon lights, and that should call in our little marshal. That guy's... Yep, there goes, doors are closing. Why is that guy doing that? It's like saying, take it easy or something. Take it easy, man. You're being too rough on yourself, man. Just take it easy. Remember, you got a wife and kids. Ready for the pushback. Alright. So APU is on. Let's prep everything for our taxi. Airport map is loading. Oh, I need to load the charts. Keep forgetting that.
Departure checks completed. Bypass inserted.
So we got Beacon to November. No. 5 X-ray. This is the one. Beacon 5 X-ray. And we're just gonna use that for now. Right, trim is 41.1. Should be. Alright, before I start checklist, parking is checked. Takeoff speeds have been set. Slides not armed yet, but they will be in a moment. Slides are armed. The crew usually does this automatic. I'm just doing this for the memo, for the checklist. And nose wheel steering disconnect. There it is. Nose wheel steer disconnect. Oh, sorry. Right there. Nose wheel steer disconnect. Alright, so checklist complete. Let's go back to performance. Let's zoom in on our little airport here. Let's turn on our TCAS. Hello. It's not moving towards the airplane's position, but the airplane's over there on that side over there. For some reason it's not. It's right there. See the magenta. It's not following the plane. Something centered on the aircraft. There we go. Usually its default is centered on the aircraft. For some reason today it isn't. Alright, let's call in our ATC and ask it for our pushback. As usual, I have my co-pilot handling the comms.
Whiskey 2. Request pushback and engine start.
Remove the chocks.
Sierra Heavy, Ponta Delgada Tower, pushback approved. Face east.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face east. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Always a funny guy. Alright, we got clearance to push and start, so let's nose right.
Release parking brakes, please.
And releasing parking brakes.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Here we go, starting up number 1. No wing clip, hopefully, because we were already behind that A320 Neo. Engine's pulling up. We're looking here at normal temperatures, normal pressure. Also looking at the vibration. If there's something wrong, we can just kill the switch. Our flight attendants are number 1 is starting up correctly. If any of these values go beyond what's expected, they turn either yellow or red, so we're good to go. And once the plane is available, the engine, avail will be displayed. Now starting number 2. Go back to performance. You like it, Andrew? This is a very humble airport. It's not much to see, but still cool. Alright, number 2.
Preset parking brakes.
Parking brakes are set.
Waiting your confirmation for your engine start.
I'll confirm. Right, engine's available, so we got a good engine start. Let's set it back to normal, and before we call the ground crew, we're going to perform the flight controls checks. So full deflection left, neutral. Looking at this ECAM page here, by the way. Full deflection right, neutral. Full pitch up, neutral. Full pitch down, and neutral. Full rudder left, and neutral. Full rudder right, and neutral. Confirm pitch at 3.5 up, and the rudder trim set to neutral. You can press the reset just in case. Alright. And it's 0 right there. So we're pretty much ready. Let's run our after start checklist before we go anywhere. NTI is not required. Flight controls have been checked, and we are going to request a ground clearance.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start.
So we're gonna clear that checklist once we get the pin on the guy's hand. Azores is beautiful. It's a beautiful archipelago. Let's turn on our
unlocking gear.
track IR. So they're unlocking the gear so that we can move it again. Alright, there we go. There goes the tug.
Tow-track disconnected. Bypass wing removal.
Alright, we can call
Left is clear. Right
taxi
is
to
clear.
the runway.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Request taxi.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, runway 12 taxi via Echo, Charlie.
1-2 via Echo and Charlie. There's a
Alright, we'll taxi to runway 12 via
there's the pin.
Charlie. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
So let's taxi to run 2, which is the one right here. I thought we would have to backtrack, but I was mixing up. The 2-4 is the one you have to backtrack. Alright, here we go. Taxi to runway 12. Set everything up here. Traffic, and I got ID. Let's go. So we got our ground clearance here. Checklist complete. And now the taxi checklists. Flaps set to 1. Set. Radar to weather set. And we'll perform these on the ECAM status over there. Checklist complete. So now we need to wait for the cabin because they're making the announcements. So there's runway 12 over there. Let's begin our turn. This is a big plane, so I sometimes don't get it right on the turns. There's a reason why this plane has taxi cameras, but unfortunately we do not. So let's brake here. Parking brake set. Let's wait for the cabin. Let's continue to perform our takeoff checks. So auto brake RTO, and now waiting for the cabin ready to complete the ECAM memory items. So let's set this to night mode because it's prettier. So this is our departure here. We're gonna go to SM527, then NAVPO, and then Beacon, and all the way to Portugal. Continental Portugal. We're still in Portugal. So we're just waiting for the cabin. We need this to turn green. Let's just press, I think you can press the cursor, yeah, that's it, and it goes to ready. And now takeoff configuration normal. So let's go back to the checklists and wait for the line.
All aircraft be advised information Foxtrot now current QNH 1024.
1024, confirm. Alright, we're ready. Let's request departure.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Ready for departure.
So,
Runway 12.
confirm cabin secure, takeoff running confirm, packs 1 and 2 are both on.
Heavy Ponta Delgada Tower, wind 035 at 5, runway 12, be cleared for takeoff.
So we got clearance.
Cleared for takeoff. Air Portugal 22
Here we go.
Sierra Heavy.
Amazing Rolls-Royce Trent engines. So we're gonna make a little turn here so that we can be lined up with as much runway as we can. Remember, this is a big plane. Here we are, slightly to the right, and we should be okay. All right, let's go. 50% thrust. And now manual flex. SRS. Thrust set. 100.
V1.
Rotate. Positive rate gear up. We're following the little ball there.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, contact Ponta Delgada, departure 11
Thrust levers to climb.
Contact Ponta Delgada, departure 119.4. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Speed checks flaps up.
Ponta Delgada, Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, 2,300 feet.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, Ponta Delgada, departure identified, climb to flight level 190.
190.
Climb to flight level 190. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Autopilot engaged. Turn on the VVs, the velocity vectors. Alright, so we are clearing up the unnecessary items. And we took off with the APU on. That's nice. I did look up to the overhead, and I did try to look for lit lights. For some reason I didn't see the APU was still on. My bad. Nothing serious, it just burned a little more fuel than what's desired. Alright, we're gonna stay at this climb rate for a moment. We do have some clouds, but there's no turbulence on the radar, so we shouldn't be having any issues. Nor turbulence or rain, I mean. Alright, we are clear from the ground clutter, so let's switch back to weather. Still following the chart. Let's turn this on to see the progress. Let's turn this into night. Alright, QNH into standard. So this is a beautiful airplane. Never ceases to amaze me how beautiful this plane is. from those beautiful bent winglets to the composite wing, this huge Trent XWB engines, the beautiful nose design, everything about this plane just is classy. Even the tail looks absolutely classy. Oh, there's the APU door shutting, by the way. It's absolutely classy, this plane. Unfortunately, we can't see the islands because of the clouds. But we just left the Azores Ponta Delgada island. So let's run the memory items. So speed brake are in, wing and nose to off. We are going to transition 10,000 feet. We can turn off our landing lights, and since I don't see any weather coming up, I'm gonna close my HUD because we don't need it for now. All right, so our initial clearance is 19,000 feet or flight level 190. At some point we'll be cleared for a higher altitude, probably when we enter Santa Maria Oceanic IFR, which is the next ATC station. I see we're going to have some very small but favorable tailwind. It's always nice. We can turn on. We no longer require to have the no mobile. Alright, sorry about that. Let's switch off the track IR for now. Alright. So why, oh why, do planes still have the no smoking sign? Why? Some aircraft have replaced the no smoking with the no mobile, but the A350 does have the no mobile separate. So why does do most, if not all, still have either the no smoking sign or the remnants of a no smoking sign? Of course, no flights around the world unless they're private, but no commercial flights around the world have permission for passengers to smoke. I myself have heard and saw pilots smoking on board, but you know, that's completely forbidden, so to speak. They're the captains, they decide what to do, but I've seen them. I'm not going to say where, not going to say who, but I know they do. Regardless, smoking on board is prohibited. If pilots do it, then it's a very rare occasion, and there's a good reason for that. And it might surprise you what the reason is. So you might think, oh, it's a health issue. Not exactly. I mean, if you ask any airline representative, they'll tell you, yeah, sure, it's for a health reason. We don't allow smoking on board, but honestly, that's not the case at all. The idea is, back in the day when there was smoking on board, the air inside the cabin is recycled, so it partially comes from the engines. So fresh air comes from the engines, the engine area, so it's sucked in by the pneumatic system, but a good chunk of that air in the cabin is recycled, so it goes on and on through the cabin. And in order to clean that air, some air filters are required. So air filtering cleans the air particles, including viruses and bacteria, just so you know. But back in the day when there was smoke on board, they would also filter the nicotine. So if everybody or a good chunk of people will be smoking you can imagine how dirty that air filter would get. And that was a huge problem for most of the airlines, that they have to clean those filters more times than they would like to. And so, for the sake of saving, and for the sake of not having to change air filters every flight or so, airlines decided, yeah, let's vote to prohibit in-flight smoking. And yes, they will tell you, yeah, of course, it's a health issue. Probably not the main reason for most airlines. Right on time. Let's go to Santa Maria Oceanic.
Center on 132.15. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Have a good afternoon.
Let's go.
Santa Maria Oceanic. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Crossing flight level 164 for flight level 190 direct econ.
Let's get clearance.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, Santa Maria Oceanic, radar contact. Climb to flight level 410.
410.
Climb to flight level 410. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Here we go. 410. Let it go. Let it do its thing. Alright, so we're now going to make a very long climb to this point right here. This is our top of climb. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this will be our top of climb right here, and this will be our top of descent. That top of descent is approximately 600, more or less, miles from where we are at right now. And we'll accelerate time in order to, shorten the flight. One characteristic you might be looking at is this ETP. This is what we call the point of no return. So if anything happens during this flight, this ETP point allows us to understand that up until that point, it's preferable to just go back and land on the departure airfield. Beyond that point, it's preferable to be landing on the destination or alternate airport. So it's like a point where you know that you're halfway, so to speak. So coming back to our smoking story, so if smoking in flight is forbidden, then it sounds kind of silly to have a no smoking sign on board. So this one right here. Let's turn off our seatbelt signs here. It's kind of silly not to have still the no smoking sign. Well, believe it or not, there are still people today that even though they get warnings on the briefing by the aircrew, even though their tickets will say, well, they're supposed to say, this is a non-smoking flight, people still do try to smoke on board. And there's a place where they often try to do that, which is the bathrooms. And that's exactly why those bathrooms have a smoke detector. The smoke detector is there because airlines know, they just know people will try. And people have tried. Even last week I heard about an incident of someone that tried to smoke on the bathroom. There's a smoke detector in there, they got caught, and they were banned from that airline. I'm not sure if they were banned just for that, but that's what the story said. So they probably weren't doing anything good in that bathroom anyway. Apparently it was just one person, but could be more. But anyway, smoking is forbidden, and you can get an FT fee, and if you're a recurring offender, you will get banned. So that was probably the case for this particular person. Probably did it more than once, or was doing more than just smoking. So yeah, today is a cloudy day, so there's not much to see beyond the white and the blue sky. So we're going to accelerate time so we can get there faster. It's at this point that people most of the times just leave because it's, you know, it's just looking at pretty graphics and digits. I don't blame anyone that does that. Because flying, being a pilot actually, in this modern day, is pretty much like being a computer technician with 15 minutes of excitement. 7 minutes on takeoff and 6 minutes on landing, maybe less. So yeah. So let's just accelerate time. Set it on auto, and there we go. So we're flying at 4 times the actual speed of time. So it's like flying a fighter jet with big wings. So you're going to level out at flight level 410. And I usually turn off the seatbelt signs once we get to the first straight line in the horizon. So one thing I've noticed is that when the HUD is installed, there aren't any sunshades for the main screen. So, but if we remove it, they will probably turn. So on the A350, the sunshades come down from the top of the window here, and they're not here. So probably you can't have both. You can't have the HUD and the sunshade. It's all right, no big deal. So I'm gonna get back to our en route map so we can have a look at where we are. Of course, real life planes don't get to accelerate time, right? That'll be great. Back in the day when I flew with VATSIM, I was a very old VATSIM pilot once upon a time. Also got to begin as a controller, but then I didn't have the time to carry on, so I just stuck with being a pilot. Back in the day, I remember flying Atlantic, so transcontinental flights through the Atlantic, and up until a certain point we would ask the ATC, a human ATC, if we could go not supersonic, but you get the idea, so we can fly with time acceleration. And they were very comprehensive, and they would allow us to accelerate time, so we could only get, I think, up to 4 times, just like we're doing now. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I do remember that I flew twice with the Concorde, and that was about a 1-hour flight because I accelerated half of the way. And, you know, the Concorde was already fast, so you can imagine how fast I got when I accelerated time. And I've seen the radar screens when people accelerated time, and it was ludicrous, the speeds that the radar would register, because you would be accelerating. Oh, someone subscribed. Who is that? Somil. Namaste, Somil. Thank you. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaste, Somil. Would you... Me and Somil, we have a... Somil is a friend from other streams. We have a little history with serving tea to each other, so... Hope you like your tea without milk, Somil, because I don't like milk on my tea. So... now we're going to prep our destination. So coming back to our flight plan, we got lays 2 alpha for runway 02. So let's insert that. This may change, so we're not gonna write this on stone. P6 lays 2 alpha. So this is our destination data based on our flight plan, but this often changes because most of the times we are reliant on the weather. So if the weather changes, so will the approach. But we are inserting that now because we want this right here. So this is the fuel prediction. This is the estimated time of arrival. So currently we are at 2021 Zulu. We'll be arriving in 2127. Of course, we're accelerating time. This is Zulu time. This is local time, or the other way around. Anyway, it's 2 hours flight, more or less, give or take. So we've been flying for 30 minutes. We departed at 2000 hours, so we are already at more close to the sorry, so to 30 minutes in, we should have 1 hour and 27 minutes left to go. But of course, we're accelerating time. We're not going to take that long. Plus, we got a little tailwind here, 24 knots tailwind. Look at that. So, we insert the data now, but we will going to request. We are going to request, let's just confirm, not this ATC com, let's just confirm the METARs. So we no longer need that. Send request for Lisbon and Faro, which is our alternate. And let's set it up for auto updates and auto updates. So our ATs tells us, and we can insert this performance on the page. Let's just switch our secondary flight plane here for the ATC com, DATs. Okay, so we going insert data for the approach. So we got, for Lisbon, we got 320 knots at 14. 320 heading, and now 14 knots. I know for a fact that there's some gusting going around because I was watching live stream from Lisbon airport, and there was some gusting, so we'll see. Outside temperature 22 degrees and QNH 1016. Enter. Now, as for the approach, you're going to set our radio altimeter as usual for 200 feet for the approach. All right, so we will be continuously monitoring the DATs. So if there's any change, we'll address it. But for now, everything is set up. We don't need to set barrel reference, barrel altitude, just radio altitude. This is very important for the VREF for touchdown is 128 knots. Yes, this plane can go awfully slow, especially because it's going to fly quite empty. We know that the transition altitude is 4,000 feet. That's very important, because that's when we change our radar altimeters from flight level to feet. And let's calculate already our landing performance. So let's sync our FMS. And let's sync our data here. So let's break to medium landing technique. Let's go manual and reverse this compute. We can choose config flaps 3. That will give us a little more stop margin. We don't really need to worry about that with such an empty plane, so we'll land at config 3. We just need to set up our config 3. I'm used to the A320 to do it up there, but it's here. Just press config 3 and our VF reference will be a little higher, 131 knots. So this is our reference speed to land. So this is a beautiful time of the day. The lights are blinking faster because we're accelerating time. So as you can see, we just made a huge jump over the Atlantic. We already passed our point of no return, the one I was talking about. We will be entering soon in Lisbon FIR. So this is the LPBC, it's the Lisbon Center. So it's telling us to go to the second Santa Maria Oceanic station. It's only one station, really. This is Santa Maria Oceanic. For some reason, it goes. We get handed over multiple times inside this area here, but it's supposed to be just one. But nothing serious. So we're very close entering Lisbon Center, so Lisbon FIR. This is the full coverage, including Madeira Islands. So this is Madeira right here. So this is the full coverage for the Lisbon FIR. This is all controlled by the Lisbon Center. And as you get closer, you get handed over to Lisbon Approach, then Lisbon Tower. Let's go to our charts here. Let's go set up our charts for the approach. So we got the Lays 1 Alpha. So I need to confirm that. So it's Lays 2 Alpha, sorry. So my bad. So Lays 2 Alpha, let's search for that in the SIDS standard instrument. Sorry, it's the star standard arrival terminal reference. So it's Lays 2 Alpha, which is not this one. Lays 3 Bravo 2 Alpha, there it is. Is this pin? Yeah. Okay, so this is our approach. We're going to go through Lays, Rulox, then make a right-hand turn to Natit, Mazuk, and then go to the little half banana here, all the way to PT840, where we turn into Nevad. We, like always, are going to request a left-hand turn after Ernil to Nevad, so that we don't need to go into the little half banana. So we're making our left-hand turn. This will be our final turn before the approach phase. And we are just about to enter Lisbon FIR. And there we go. We are entering Lisbon FIR at this moment, so we'll be handed over pretty soon. ATC is taking its time, because we're going awfully fast, by the way. So it might take a moment or two. Anytime now. Oh, there we go.
Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Contact Lisbon Center 119.55.
So 119.55.
Center on 119.55. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
There it goes.
Lisbon Center, Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Flight level 410.
Here we are.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Lisbon Center.
So right about here, we're gonna start probably closer to the top of descent. We'll get our approach clearance, and this is when we need to confirm everything with our FMS so that we don't get any screwy. It's strange that I don't see any traffic, but this is not that empty of a route. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful gradient from red to blue to black. Amazing. It's one of those times you want to take a picture, but it's too dark. No moon. I need to pick moon when there's full moon or something, because we can barely see anything outside. So if you just come now, I'm making, well, it's in the description, but I'm making a flight from the Azores Ponta Delgada airport to Lisbon. This is a return flight from the previous one when I flew from Lisbon to Azores on the A321. Now I'm coming back on the A350. As always, I take suggestions. The last few flights were suggested by viewers. So we made a Frankfurt, Istanbul, then an Istanbul, Rome, then Rome, Lisbon, and then Lisbon, Azores. All those flights were suggested by a couple of friends. And if people want me to try specific aircraft, just let me know. I don't have them all, of course, and I usually just choose study level airliners, so no Cessnas, no small planes. It's not because I don't know how to fly, but it's just I think these are interesting because they're complex systems. Flying a Cessna can be interesting, but not at this level. So I use Beyond ATC to generate ATC and traffic. ATC is okay, but traffic is not. Unfortunately, traffic is very messy. And time acceleration, just like the one I'm doing right now, actually makes things worse. So lazy 2 Alpha, runway 02. So I think this is the one we got. Yep, lays 2 Alpha, runway 02. So let's accept that. By the way, this can all be voice commanded. You don't have to press these buttons, and you don't have to have the co-pilot responding. You can do it all by yourself, and it will recognize your voice. You just need to have a nice English accent. Nothing too serious, but you can easily control everything with your voice.
Air Portugal 57 Whiskey, Lisbon Center. Expect inbox 2 Alpha, runway 02.
Expect inbox 2 Alpha, runway 02, Air Portugal 57 Whiskey.
So we are going to accelerate time just a little more, not much, because I can screw up everything, and I don't want that after such a long flight. Just in time.
Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, Lazy 2 Alpha, runway 02. Report ready for descent.
Alright, this is what I wanted, just ready to descend.
Lazy 2 Alpha, runway 02, ready for descent. Air Portugal 22
Let's call our
Sierra.
passengers back to their seats.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, descend to flight level 250.
250.
Descend to flight level 250. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
So we select the altitude and press in to have managed descent. You can switch to track mode and you will get the angle, but we're talking about flight levels here. It's preferable to fly it in adding visual vertical speed and flying in feet per second, or FPA. So we're descending from flight level 410, that's 41,000 feet. That's yeah, that's very high cruise. Not all planes can manage to go that high, but we got these amazing engines, amazing performance on this plane that allows us to fly higher than most people. I remember back when I was flying the 747, we sometimes also got a little higher than anybody else, and it's pretty cool to do that because we get, as we get higher, we get less air resistance, so less drag, and we can go faster, closer to Mach. So right now we're doing Mach 0.85. Back when we were cruising, we can go a little beyond that, so probably Mach 0.86, something like that, when everybody else is lower in altitude and lower in speed as well. So you can get that slightly faster. Dreamliner can also do the fairly good performance. The 777, of course, can also, because the 777 has very powerful engines. But at the end of the day, the 50 does that with a lot more class. Sorry, Boeing lovers, it's just the truth. So after we accelerated time, we're not that far from Lisbon, but we still have a long way to go down. So we're descending now. Good descent rate. You can see the little green dot there. This is our performance little ball that we need to follow. Some people call this a dot. It's a ball. Come on. It's not a dot. Where is that a dot? It's a ball. It's a little ball. It bounces up and down. There's something down in the horizon, as you can see. That's Portugal right there. I believe that's Lisbon, that orange blob in the horizon. So still don't have any significant weather. Skies were blue, but we will, I believe we will have some wind. We'll see. So our ETA is 2036 Zulu. So we are more or less 20 minutes out from landing in real time. I may accelerate a little bit if I can do it. I don't like to do that this close to the airport because, you know, traffic separation is a mess with Beyond ETC. If I accelerate my plane, I can easily overtake any other plane, and that will be a mess. So I prefer to just fly real time as much as I can, unless, like I was before in the mid-Atlantic, not interfering with anybody else, and I just turn on the turbo boost for a moment to get me what I want. So as you can see, like we were talking about, this right-hand turn, and then another right-hand turn, and then well, actually we don't need to make another, it's just one right-hand turn, and then the very long left banana turn, half banana turn, as I usually say. Like I explained several times, but it's never too much to explain it. This is sort of a waiting corridor. It's like a holding pattern, but it's instead of a holding pattern like these egg shapes or racetrack shaped points, it's a linear holding pattern. So what this means is that the ATC can put up to, well, it depends on traffic flow, but you can have 2, 3 or more planes just going in the same direction at the same altitude above flight level 080, and you can also have other planes on the opposite direction doing this half banana. And like when one plane is clear to the ILS, and you can clear the other and the other. You don't necessarily need to go all the way through these waypoints. In fact, ATC can vector you directly from any waypoint directly to the approach. It's just a matter how dense the traffic really is. I was very much confused with this and somehow against it. Who am I to be against it? But anyway, I was against it because I felt like this was a waste of time. But after seeing it in real life and seeing how ATC can use this or not, they can easily tell someone that coming out of Rulox, they can easily tell just go direct to Mazak here, or just go directly to Nevad, whatever. The point is, if there is traffic in here, they'll start clearing it first, and if you needed to wait, instead of asking you to make a holding pattern in Hunpot, in Mazak, or in Nadit, they can easily just tell you to move forth with your flight plan, and then when they're ready, they can call you out of any waypoint. So let's imagine there's a plane already in Nevad making his approach, and there's another one in front of me, probably coming from the north, approaching, and they will all these three planes will be in this pattern. So the one is, let's say one is in Zephy, the other one is entering Ernil, and I'm back here at Natid. ATC can easily, I need to extend my speed brakes because of performance, stand by, unless I'm called to descend further, which I wasn't. Nope, they're going to ask me to remain at 2,500, 25,000. Oh, there it goes. 080, let's go.
Descend to flight level 080, Air Portugal 220.
So that's the next constraint. I'll talk about that in a moment. So let's say there's one plane in Zephy, one in Ernil, and I'm in Natid. So the ATC can easily clear the Zephy one to the approach. After the one is already on the approach, the other plane that was flying from Ernil to Relku can also be cleared. And then I will continue down here, and once these two planes have cleared on the ILS, then they can clear me, let's say from Mazak or from Ernil directly to Nevad. So this works well, and a lot of airports have this. Barcelona has, well, it's not even visually similar, but the logic is the same. And they have two runways, two very active, very busy air runways to work with, and they use this system very well for some time now. Lisbon has adopted this, I'd say in 2023 if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, it works well. Most planes don't go through the half banana, but they will, sometimes you will see them going through this curve here. That's because they're on a holding pattern here. It's not a pattern, it's just a holding lane or holding corridor if you want. And then when it's clear on the airport, then they'll go back in and land. Needless to say, if there's a major issue on the airport, the planes need to hold for a little longer, they have these holding points here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 holding points. For the ones coming from the south, there's another one on this area. From the ones coming from the north, there's yet another up there. So lots of holding points for planes, just in case ATC needs to have them wait for a little bit until they divert or are cleared to land. So it's just, we no longer need the airspeed control of the spoilers. So we're coming in on Rulox, and here we are, Rulox. So like I said, we're not going to go through the half banana. After Ernil, we're going to request a direct to Nevad. Should be alright. If not, we'll go direct to... actually, once we approach Nevad, ATC usually clears us direct to P6, so we might not even need to ask for to make it direct to Nevad. We'll just make it direct to P6, but we'll ask Nevad because P6 is a final point of interception, and we don't want to be denied because we're trying to make a huge shortcut. So another constraint. Let's talk about constraints. So right here on the ND, you can see that there's the waypoint named Rulox, and then there's 250 KT. KT stands for knots. So this is 250 knots. This is the restriction. So this is where we're decelerating to. We cannot go over this waypoint with the intent to land uh, above 250 knots. Same thing here, 230 knots at nated. At Maysock, there's also a FL080. That means we cannot go below flight level 080, which is by coincidence the altitude we are cleared to. So what this means is that we need to obey these restrictions. We call them constraints, and we can delete them if you don't want to see them, but they'll still be there, and the FMC will also obey to them. So you can see here that there's these magenta asterisks. They indicate that there's a restriction on this steer point Maysock, and it's 220 knots, flight level 080. So we cannot go below this, or we cannot go above this airspeed. We can of course change this. We can change any airspeed we want, just in case. Let's say ATC tell us clear to 250 at Maysock, we can add it and override that. But that's only when ATC clears us. So let's zoom in a little bit here so we can have a better look at this. So basically what I have here is replicated here, but this one is a chart and has a flight following here with the little magenta plane, and this one is the actual navigation planned. So there's Lisbon up ahead. There's Lisbon right there. The airport is somewhere over there. We'll make a little right-hand turn, then a little very long left turn until we reach Ernil. Why Ernil and not Maysock? Because I don't think we'll reach flight level 080 before Ernil. Even though the altitude interception point, what's it called? This is the altitude interception point, so what you would call the reverse top of climb. This is so currently I'm above performance, so I'm a little above the desired descent rate. This is indicating me where I'll intercept this little green ball over there. So it's telling me I'll match performance before nated. It's probably reducing speed in order to maintain the 250 knot constraint. So in order to help it, I'm gonna deploy my speed brakes. And now, as you can see, the speed will be reduced, the nose will lower, and I'll be able to keep up with the performance ball. But you know, there's always something in trade, and trade-in is I need to add power to the engines. So before I spend too much fuel, I'll just switch off my speed brakes. There they go down. And that will reduce my engine thrust. I'm at performance point, so I'm with the managed descent rate at optimal descent rate, but I did accelerate slightly because, you know, planes are aerodynamic. They don't decelerate out of nowhere. There it goes. It's decelerating now. They need a little help to decelerate sometimes, so that's why we can deploy our speed brakes. As you can see, there are other planes coming in, so they'll probably join this approach, and if that's the case, then I'll probably lose my entry point at Ernil. We'll see. We just need him to go over. This one is lower than me, this one's above me. Ideally, I would fit in both, so between the first and the second one, but we'll see. Like I said, beyond ATC, traffic separation is leaves a little to be desired. So another constraint being fulfilled. Need to reduce to 230 knots. So there's our airport right over there. So the plane will raise the nose slightly to reduce the speed. And we're making our right-hand turn as expected at nated. This plane might overtake us, we'll see. I'm hoping ATC is able to separate us well, otherwise this will be a mess. It sometimes gets to be a mess. Beyond ATC is a very cool platform and I love it, but the AI needs to learn a lot more in terms of traffic separation, traffic assignment, especially this SIDS and stars. It's not good with SIDS and stars. It needs to be a lot better in order to reach its full potential. So we're coming down at 11,000 feet, so flight level 110. At flight level 100, we'll turn on our landing lights as per international convention to make our airplane visible to everybody else. Let's look at Lisbon. I'm going to turn on by track IR again. So I'm looking back, looking forward. Okay. Here we go. So there's Lisbon right there. Some clouds, nothing serious. Some 7 knots wind from the right side. I was expecting more, to be honest. As we enter this area, once we turn into the ILS, or at least for the initial, I'll be making my approach checklist. Let's set it up here. So it's already. Let's continue. Alright, Lisbon arrival. Let's confirm we got the most recent METAR. So
Contact Lisbon, arrival
let's
165.13, Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
open ATC COM and let's open flight plan performance. Sorry,
Lisbon arrival,
approach.
Air
Let's
Portugal
confirm
22
we got
Sierra Heavy.
the most recent data. So
We have
wind
hotel on board.
320 at 14 is still the same. QNH 1016. Outside temperature is 22 knots. Let's just request a quick update just in case. Alright. We are expecting ILS 02 with the P6 transition.
The ILS runway 02 with the
Alright, nothing's changed. 32014 and 22 at QNH 106. So we are still going for the same approach data, meteo data, weather. Alright, see that plane? Where is that? There it is. We might get TCAS warning, we'll see. We're reaching our assigned altitude of 8,000 feet or flight level 080. Let's reduce range here so we can have a good look at this plane. It's entering my little protection bubble, so we'll probably have a TCAS warning. We'll address that. That's a ridge. We'll cross once we reach it. It's getting awfully close, but I think we'll overtake it. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Ryanair, so we can have a look here and see who that guy really is. It's a TAP Portugal 943. It's 1 mile away from me. Can actually get an ID here. There's 943. Yep, it's getting a little too close to comfort, but I think we can overtake it as long as we can still keep up. We are at co-altitude. It's supposed to have entered before me, but it's going slow, so let's go faster. And if that's, I'm going to ask for a direct to after Ernil. We're at 8,000 feet. We're pretty much clear for that. So there it is. So let's request that after these guys speak. Direct to fix. It should be Nevad.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Request direct to fix.
So let's search Nevad and hope that she gives it to us. Nevad.
Request direct to Nevid. Air
Nevid.
Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
American accent. Nevid. Yes.
Affirmative. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, roger, clear direct to Nevid.
Let's go.
Clear direct to Nevid. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
We're turning in from to Neva now.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, descend to 3,000 feet.
Setting,
QNH 1017.
setting 3,000 feet. QNH 1017. So
QNH 1017. Air
So,
Portugal 22
we have
Sierra Heavy.
we have a performance change. Let's address that.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, clear direct PSX, close PSX at or above 3,000 feet, cleared ILS runway 02.
All right, we can clear for direct to PSX.
Cleared direct PSX. Cross PSX at or above 3,000 feet. Cleared ILS runway 02.
There we
Air
go.
Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Let's turn on our landing system.
Ryanair 7
And let's
Juliet, turn left, heading 285.
let's perform our approach checklist.
Turn left, heading 285.
Battle reference
3 Kilo Juliet.
1017. 1017. We'll get back to that. Let's continue on with landing configuration here. Where's the the co-pilot doesn't need it. I need it. All right.
Ryanair 73 Kilo Juliet, turn left, heading 210. Expect further clearance in about 27 miles. Turn left, heading 210. Ryanair.
So now let's switch to the approach plate. So this will be ILS runway 02. So our decision altitude is 200 feet radio altimeter, and our glide slope. So we need to confirm. Let's turn on the marker audio. So we can hear the markers and confirm the altitudes here. So we got ILS, we got glide slope already, ILS 109.10, confirm. We are still descending.
Air Portugal 57 Whiskey Lisbon, arrivals QNH 1017.
Let's help the plane reduce its speed with some speed brakes. And flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 1. Speed brakes in. Arm the speed brakes. We got dry, landing 02. So we got our minimum set. I'm performing partial checklist here. So minimums, one-way condition dry, and auto brakes set. Just need a better reference once we... Oh, what's going on with my track high arm? I'm sinking. Ah, whoa. Alright, much better. So coming down on transition altitude. There's our runway right there. We're a bit too high, but we'll intercept ILS in a moment and we'll turn in. There it goes. Alright, 1017, 1017 and cross check. Battle reference set. Approach checklist complete. Let's go for the set this to FMS2. Let's go for the landing checklist, get it ready. This is the ECAM status. We can go for complete because we'll perform it here. Alright, here we go. Speed check flaps 2. Remember, we're going to set flaps 3 for this landing. We're approaching in 3,000 feet as required.
Sierra Heavy, contact Lisbon Tower 118.105. Have a good evening.
118.105.
Over to Tower 118.105.
Flaps 3,
Air
speed
Portugal
check
22
flaps
Sierra
3.
Heavy.
And let's keep this speed going a little high.
Lisbon Tower, Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, ILS runway 02.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, Lisbon Tower, wind
We got a crosswind from
runway 02 clear.
the left.
Runway 02.
So V approach is 130 knots.
All aircraft be advised information in their now current QNH1017.
Approach on. Come on. Autopilot off. Gear down. For some reason it's not
2,500.
obeying the approach for some reason. I'm gonna chase the glide slope. So localizer is armed, and there goes the glide slope. All right.
2,000.
Now let's follow the smaller ball with the velocity vector up there. So our minimum is 200.
2,000.
Hello. Blathering human. On the final. A little low. Let's go higher a little bit. So we're slightly below the glide path. We just need to clear this warning because I turned off the autopilot. As you can see, there's a slight wind coming from the left side. Little crossed, nothing serious. Just need to compensate slightly with the rudder pedals.
1,000.
1,000 check. Landing checklist. ECAM status, no blow. Landing inhibit. Landing checklist complete. I forgot the landing lights. I keep forgetting the landing lights. This is a memory item.
$500.
Come on. There we go.
400.
Slightly to the right.
$100 above. Minimum.
Continue. Let's look outside.
100. 90. 80. 70. 60. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
There we go. Right on the center line. Reverse. To reverse check. $60 knots.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, exit right at uniform 5.
Auto brakes off.
Exit right at uniform 5. Air Portugal
I'm not
22
gonna go for
Sierra Heavy.
uniform 5, I'm sorry. These guys are always telling me to go to uniform 5. I'm gonna exit here at Hotel 4. Alright. welcome to Lisbon. Confirm Hotel 4. This is a high-speed exit. It's preferable for such a big plane. It always tells me to go to Uniform 5, which is over there. So we're going to park in parking spot 146. Let's set that up. Start our APU. Sorry, it's just a lot of stuff to do when you're a single pilot.
Ryanair for Delta Tango, ready for departure. Runway 02.
So we vacated the runway. So let's go to 146. 146.
Runway 02, clear for takeoff. Ryanair for Delta
No
Tango.
push. No. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I was distracted here with. You didn't see anything. Carry on.
21.755.
So let's go ground force. I was distracted with the ground operations here. So let's request taxi to gate 146.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy. Request taxi to the gate.
So let's start our APU.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, welcome to Lisbon. Say parking or advise if need assignment.
146.
Request gate 146. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy, gate 146 taxi via Uniform 4 Alpha 5.
Hope there's no plane there.
146 by Uniform 4 Alpha 5. Air Portugal 22 Sierra Heavy.
No, there's no plane there. I prefer 145, but there's an I-flight jet over there.
Taxi for departure.
Alright, we no longer need this. Let's just focus on taxiing this plane, which is always an endeavor.
November 2.
So there's our little yellow lights there. 146.
November 2, 100 uniform.
Here we go. Let's hope I can get it the plane straight in, because I usually get it slightly crooked. An apology in advance if I don't make it, but I'll try. Because usually this plane taxis with some cameras that aid, especially the 1000 is just too big. You don't have a perception when you're alright. It seems aligned enough, so let's follow the safe dock. So I'm looking at this panel here. It's going to tell me to turn, go forth, slow down, or stop.
Delta Tower 118.105. Ryanair 10 Lima uniform.
There you go, we're 19 meters. Sometimes the plane just stops, which is unrealistic. This plane usually stops when you're not inputting some throttle. Well, once we add a little throttle, it starts going awfully fast. So a little to the left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. There we go. Nice. And now parking brake set. Alright. That was really uneventful for the stuff that I go through sometimes. Engine shut down. So let's request the boarding. Beacon is off.
The boarding requested.
There it goes. Let's turn on the tug. The chokes are on. No indication here. I should have chokes indicated here, but oh well. So let's switch off everything. So let's...
There are no passenger stairs. You will not see passengers visually.
What? This is the second time this happens with GSX. For some reason, it just doesn't activate the jetways. It says there's no passenger stairs available. And it has done this to me at least 3 times in the recent past. So there's something wrong with GSX. It just doesn't activate the jetways for some reason. And it doesn't even allow me to move the jetway. Let's see if I can operate it. Because you see here, it's detecting the jetway, operate jetway, but it doesn't move. Reasons unknown. Really don't know why. So anyway, you won't see the passengers leaving, which is always a pain in the rear end, but it is what it is. So let's continue on with finishing our flight. So let's go with the parking checklist. Parking brakes set with chock set as well. Engines are both off. Wing lights are off. Come on. And let's turn off the fuel pumps because we will no longer be flying today. Parking checklist complete. Alright, let's turn on the external power. Turn off the APU. Confirm we don't need brake fans, which should be on the flight control page. No, sorry, not the flight control page, the wheel page. Where is the wheel page? There it is. Wheel page, yeah, if temperatures are fine, no need for brake fans. And yeah, sorry you can't see the passenger. Let's just open the doors for the sake of opening them. Yeah, there's something definitely wrong with GSX. Something we don't really know what it is, but whatever. Let's secure the aircraft and let's call it a day. So, checklist menu, securing the aircraft. Parking brakes are on. Let's set... Whoa, what did I miss here? Let's set the ADIRS to off. Oxygen 2 off. Cruise supply off. External lights, let's leave them as they are for now. Ground services as required. External power as required. APU bleed off, APU off. Emergency lights. We didn't have any passengers, so... Yeah, this is a bit of a mess. GSX, let's keep the electronic flight bags on for now, and let's turn off the batteries so they don't get, so that we don't spend those batteries, those precious batteries here. All right, so yeah, oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so aside from GSX that keeps failing, it's hard flying in the sim so professionally, in my opinion. You think so, Blathering Human? I take that as a compliment, and thank you for your subscription. Yes, it's a beautiful plane. It's A350 is amazing, and I just wish that everything else worked. So sometimes I have a motto on this channel, which is something always happens, you know, and so there's always something failing. So either is the weather, either is beyond ATC. Today was GSX that decided not to operate the little jetways. To be honest, I think it's not allowing me to operate the jetways because it feels it's not the right size of an airplane. That could be the case, but in any case, we need to, I think GSX needs to address this as soon as possible. Let me confirm if I can. No, I don't even have the options. Let's see if I got additional services. No, I can't edit, so I need to load a different plane now in order to check what's going on with this parking position. But I think it's not allowing the jetways to operate because it believes the plane is too big for this parking spot, and it is true. I asked for this parking spot because I think it's the most remote one, but I usually either park on 140, so this is 146, either 145 or 144, but there are already two planes there. That would generate an issue, I'm sure, with the Beyond ATC. But in any case, usually it sends me to the ramps, so it sends me over there where there's a lot more room for bigger planes, and that should be the case here. But you know, I like gates. I like parking this plane on the gate. I like seeing passengers going through the gates. Unfortunately, today wasn't possible, but I can assure you I will make a flight with this plane parked at the gate with the passengers flowing. 143. Yeah. I think it's all of these gates here are for heavies, except for the last one. I think this one doesn't have enough clearance, but 142, 143, 144, 145, and 146, they're all for heavies. Although I believe that only these two here, where the 330s are, only these two are actually for planes with this kind of a wingspan. I mean, look at this wingspan. This is 65 meters of wingspan, so it requires a large gate. It requires some room. Well, for me, the case is, Blathering Human, the case for me is that there's always something failing. That's my point with my live streams. So, yeah. Anyway, the flight itself is uneventful. Actually went pretty well. We arrived on time, which is rare, and the airport is a little busy, but nothing serious. The only unfortunate event was that Air Canada 143. Sorry, you got me there. maybe it's obvious, but I don't get it. What is it with 143, Blathering Human? It's probably something not that deep cut. Probably something I'm just missing. Is it a recent flight? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just stupid. Oh, all right. Oh, Air Canada 143. Yeah, that wasn't Air Canada. It was Air Transat, right? Or was it Air Canada? Wasn't that the one that landed in the Azores? An A330 that landed on the Azores. That wasn't an Air Transat flight. Maybe that's a different flight, but I don't think there were that many flights with both engines going down. Oh, there was two of them. Well, good thing we had the Azores, right? Otherwise, Air Canada will be at lost. Well, Canadian flight would be at lost. So we've been here for so long that the plane has reset the checklists. That means we gotta go. I hope that you enjoyed the flight. I certainly did. I like when I arrived home, land on the center line with a nice glide path, a nice touchdown, no bigger issues. And even though the passengers are under arrest inside the plane for some reason, it was nice. So everyone that subscribes, anyone that commented, Andrew, Blathering Human, and everybody else that just watched and enjoyed it, thank you very much for your visit. Thank you very much for your likes. Please leave a like and subscribe. This was Azores to Lisbon on the Airbus A350 on a fictional TAP Air Portugal A350-900. Again, if you have suggestions for my next flight, I'll be happy to hear it. In the meantime, I'll leave you with my new song. Well, I just wrote the lyrics, but the song is pretty good, I believe. Performed by a buddy. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Where did I put that song? Oh, there it is. Here it goes.
I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light.
Ryanair 864 Mike, ramp 202 taxi via uniform 5, uniform 4, uniform 3, Juliet, Mike 2,
The stars
Mike 3,
above
Zulu 1.
begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drums begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the